Good morning, all. I'm so appreciative of the invitation from Rector Jensen to offer this morning's sermon, especially my favorite spot here in the church, and grateful for the warm relationships that have been created and nourished these past 8 years. I'll speak about that in a little bit. The choice of text from the Hebrew Bible resonated with me the moment I read it. Permit me to share a slightly different translation from the Hebrew. It begins with an opening line and then continues with a short 2-verse poem. The Lord said to Abram, "Go forth from your native land and from your father's house to the land that I will show you. I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you. I will make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. I will bless those who bless you, and curse him that curses you. And all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you." Even this translation does not do justice to God's command to Abram, for the verse offers a peculiar verb followed by 3 locations. It begins in the Hebrew, lech lecha. This literally means take yourself. It then continues with 3 locations. Me'artzecha, from your native land. Umimaladaticha, from your birthplace. Umibeit avicha, from the house of your father. Why didn't God just say, Abram, go to this place? I think that God's use of this unique phrase suggests that Abram is about to find out whom he is really destined to become, namely, with his wife Sarai, the founders of Judaism. Why the threefold location? Native land, birthplace, and house of your father. When we move, we first leave our home, then our neighborhood, and lastly, our country of origin, in Abram's case. The hardest part of this move is to leave one's family. So what's missing here? This is the first time God spoke to Abram, and Abram faithfully responds to God's command without even asking, excuse me, whom did you say you are? Who are you to command me anything? Where does this blind faith come from? If you've ever had the opportunity to escape the noise and light pollution of civilization, and just look up at the stars at night, the possibilities of what you might ponder are endless. 4,000 years ago, I do believe that it was possible that Abram would be sitting outside his tent, looking up at the stars, and wondering how everything got here. He was sophisticated enough to recognize that stone idols could not create all that was surrounding him. Abram came to the conclusion on his own that there was a power greater than anything he could ever comprehend that made all of this. At that precise moment, God spoke to Abram. Now, it makes sense. I too had this moment when the Tree of Life called me to serve as their rabbi and cantor. I had no idea where Pittsburgh was, other than somewhere out in what we Easterners call Pennsyltucky. For those who have never heard the word, let me explain geography to you from the point of view of a New Yorker. When you go beyond Philadelphia, everything west of Philadelphia in the Commonwealth is one amorphous land mass that encompasses all of Pennsylvania, all of eastern Ohio, all of West Virginia, and all of Kentucky into the 46th state, which we call Pennsyltucky. So my wife Janice and I packed our belongings. Actually, she packed 99 and 44/100%. I packed 0.56%. We left the region of the country that had been our home for almost all of our lives. We left our daughter and other family and moved 359 miles westward. But I did not yet know God's ways and discern why God would want me to move here. I thought I had figured that out in my first year when October 27, 2018 came. My purpose became clear in the aftermath. It was to be a healer. I've given my best efforts in an impossible situation that no seminary could ever train one for, and I will leave the assessment to historians. I did my best. We then read in today's text, God says, I will make your name great. Well, tragically, the name of Tree of Life was made great, but not in a way that one would ever hope nor wish. To be known as the site of the greatest attack upon the Jewish community in the United States is not something to brag about. However, if this title remains unchanged throughout history, we can be grateful that a far worse event has not occurred. Then God says, and all the families of the earth shall bless themselves by you. I remain amazed that nearly 8 years afterwards, I continue to receive emails, cards, and letters from strangers across the globe expressing dismay, offering words of solace, comfort, and support, and rejecting the evil forces that continue to stream forth. These people continue to convince me that there are far more good people on this planet than not. And then there is Calvary Episcopal Church. A small group of our leaders in our congregation in January of 2019 began in earnest a search for a site for our High Holy Day services for the coming fall. There was a list of requirements that they brought with them. As time went on, a sense of concern arose that there did not seem to be a suitable location for our services. Then, out of the blue, came an email from Rector Jensen saying, I hear that you are looking for a place for your High Holy Day services. Consider our home yours. I must admit to you that my first response was, a church? Really? However, a genuine offer had to be met with a genuine response. So the group of leaders met and were given a tour of this grand and holy space. They reported back to me that it fit all of our needs. Again, my response was, a church? Really? It was my duty to follow up their tour. So I called Rector Jensen, and we met for what I believe was the first time. He gave me a tour of this beautiful building, and we sat and talked in his office. I left our meeting moved and impressed. And as the phrase goes in the movie Casablanca, it was the start of a beautiful friendship. We have collaborated on so many events, both here and in our home in Rodef Shalom, and out in the public sphere, that none of us think that this is unusual. The public may wonder about our relationship, and there have been media pieces about it. But in the end, what we have created is something that all communities should not merely envy, but must emulate. The success of America is tied to different groups finding pathways together, as we have modeled and continue to do. I, for one, would have never expected in my 42 years on the pulpit that I would dress up as Moses to introduce the Christmas pageant. And I don't think that Rector Jensen could ever have imagined that he would be Mr. Spock in a parody of the Book of Esther for our holiday of Purim. Nor could either of us have anticipated sitting together for many years as two guys at Jewish Heritage Night at PNC Park, just talking baseball. You may never fully appreciate the healing that you have brought to me through all that we have done together. And in the larger sense, the healing that you have brought to the Tree of Life congregation. I will be forever grateful for Rector Jensen's friendship, humanity, and humility. For as to paraphrase him, how could we not do this? It was the right thing to do. I leave Pittsburgh with a full heart of gratitude for Calvary Episcopal Church, whose name will forever be a shining example to the world of what is possible. Thank you, thank you, thank you.